The Bible says many times that God is the father of orphans, those abandoned by their mothers and fathers. He's their father. I'm sure he called me to serve these children. I didn't know how to feed them. I borrowed money at 10% interest a month. One day I came home totally depressed. I fell into bed, and at around midnight, I heard a voice. It was strong, powerful, and yet very tender. It said, "These are my children. I'll give you what you need." I jumped out of bed, knowing that something extraordinary had happened. I woke up my wife. I said, "Lena, I think God just spoke to me, and he said that these are his children, and he'd give me whatever I need." Lena said, "Calm down. God will keep his word," and then rolled over and fell asleep. And 3 days later, something incredible happened.
Oh Lord, bless this food and the hands that prepared it.
I didn't know where to get $100. But in 3 days, someone led me into the office of the most successful businessman in Ukraine. I told him about the children and how they used to live in city basements and then came to live in my rundown house. The guy just smiled, shook my hand and said, "Go, Pastor, do your good work." In just 4 months, they built a completely new house out of the ruins. Hey, gang!
Hi!
What have we got here, then?
Soup!
There used to be an iron grid on cinder blocks, over there, where the kids we rescued used to sleep. We tried to give them new clothes, to wash them, and to get the lice out of their hair. Right here, the Republic of Pilgrims began.
I finished, ha ha ha!
Don't hide.
We're not.
How are you feeling?
Okay.
You want to keep living like this? That's the condition those kids are in when we rescue them from the basements. Their arms are covered in syringe marks, heads full of lice. We pull them out and clean them up. His name was Artur. He lived in basements from the age of 8. He injected drugs 7 times a day. He died of AIDS at 14. I'm a pastor, so I know what should be done when someone dies, but honestly, I just couldn't do anything. I was devastated. I was on my knees before the kid. I cried, and it was amazing how much the boy consoled me with kind words. He had no illusions. He knew he was going to die. For the first rescues, we just went to the nearest crossroads, packed our cars with 25 or 30 kids. We brought the whole group back with us. Listen up, guys. No fooling around on the route. No one overtakes me, ever.
Oh, come on, Dad.
The first 70 kilometers, we'll be gently climbing up the hill. The mountain passes are awaiting. They'll turn you into men. Ride in pairs.
I'm a musician and I've never cycled before, but here I am. It was so hard. My legs felt like they'd fall off. My bike was about to collapse in the asphalt, but thank God I got a second wind. We do it so Russia will be without orphans. We tell our own stories. We were orphans ourselves, even drug addicts. We lived in basements, but people took us in and we changed. There's nothing scary about it. You see, we're normal, healthy people.
My car always had a dreadful smell. The stench of homeless children. It's simply beyond description when we took those filthy teenagers from the basements. People who got into my car asked if something had died in it. I kept saying it's okay, everything's fine. Andrei's case is special. He's one of the first guys who came to the Republic of Pilgrims. You thought you were just changing your clothes, right?
Yeah, to change, to eat, as far as I remember. I came to the Pilgrims when I was 12. I lived on the streets since I was 6, right where we are now. I spent nights in basements. I saw drug addicts. I even sniffed glue. If they hadn't come to our basement at that time to feed us, I think I would be in prison now, just like so many of my friends. My life has changed completely. At the very least, I'm alive. I'm studying at the conservatory now, playing music, which is what I like.
I escaped from the orphanage 39 times. I felt nobody needed me there.
My dad died. My mother is drinking.
In my life, I want to become a champion.
Who's my first rival?
Me!
Okay then. Hit my chin. You get a bottle of cola.
Just that?
This guy's serious. What do you think? Doesn't matter that he's short, he's serious. Ah, you got me! Get him his prize! Joking aside, having a boxing match with the president of the Republic of Formerly Homeless Pilgrims, oh, it's a thankless task. You got me. 3 times on the jaw, once in the eye. At first, we talked to the homeless children and drug addicts. We urged them to come with us, to change their lives, to stop them from killing themselves. But after burying yet another boy, I just said, I'm not just talking to the kids in basements on the streets anymore. If it's a homeless child, we just take him with us.
We've had enough! We've had enough!
We waged war on drug dealers. We kicked up a fuss in the city. We started picketing places where they dealt drugs. Obviously, there was intimidation. They threatened to kill me. Right here, under this window, thousands of boys and girls ended their lives with a fatal dose. Look at this boy. When I found him in the basement, he never stopped swearing. He said, "Don't touch me, just let me die." He was stinking, filthy, his legs and arms were twisted and he couldn't walk. He was so damp all over that it just ran down your neck because he had to be carried out. We cleaned him up, and after 3 weeks we took him with some of the other pilgrims to a children's camp. The boys there put him on a chair and bathed him in the sea. That day, when the sun was setting, he called me and said, "Pastor, forgive me. I'm an idiot. I just didn't listen to you." Hi, fellow pilgrims!
Hello, Pastor!
Congratulations! Boating season is now open! Here, we're going to beat the world record. For how many people you can fit into one boat. The last one in is an elephant. Calls a pastor. I didn't think I'd become an adoptive father, but as my life became intertwined with theirs, I began to treat them like my own. When you take a child, save him from drug abuse, wipe the dirt from his face and help rehabilitate him, it's quite impossible to say to him, go back to the orphanage, especially if you know the boys escaped from there 100 times. So we began adopting the children. We took one, then another, and one more, and yet more again. We just can't stop. Nikolai is my 31st adopted son. At first, when we were out walking, he panicked, even if you let him go alone for just a short distance. But now, he can walk freely. And he says to me, "Dad, I feel the strength inside." They say about Cossacks and cowboys and horsemen that the best compliment is he grew up in the saddle. I can say that about my guys. Potholes! They grew up in the bike saddle. They're fighters. I asked Nikolai, how did you become my real son? I never changed your diapers, did I?
Dad is probably the kindest soul in the world. Whenever you come up to him, his eyes are so kind. You see his heart in them, even if he's tired. He can't abandon a child. He knows that they wouldn't survive, so he endures to the end.
Nikolai's a special case. The first time he was seen on the street, he was just 2.5 years old. He couldn't talk yet. When we asked where he lived, he just pointed to a rubbish dump. They lived in some metal container, even in the freezing cold, huddled in rugs like mice.
You'd go begging, jealous of people. I'd go to the dump in the morning to find something to eat, to steal or beg for food at the market, and I'd see children going to school with their parents. It hurt to see that, a lot.
He got through 40 tubes of glue a day. The court said he'd committed 4 robberies a night. If you multiply that by the time he spent on the streets, I can't imagine how many robberies he committed.
You get high from the glue and you go stealing and looting. You need money to buy vodka, beer. I'd already been arrested, waiting for the trial, and Dad took me into a room and said, "Listen, Nikolai, your mother's died. You can go either to the orphanage or to me."
I didn't think it would last too long because he was utterly beyond control. He went hysterical and ran off. But gradually the boy calmed down. Today I'm sure that he's one of the most promising guys here. He's very talented. He talks even more than that donkey from Shrek. That little donkey, he's got nothing compared to Nikolai.
I want to become an actor and play in comedies. I like comedies a lot. I've got everything I need now. I've got a childhood. I love it when people just pat me, just stroking me on my head or back. It's because when I was little, my mom was busy and she had no time to do it. I don't know why. Maybe because she drank.
So now we have a hole-poking toxin in the blood of our fetuses, which gets in their brain because there's no blood-brain barrier developed at that stage.
Do we speak your language? Want news, programs and documentaries in Arabic? It's all here on RT. Reporting from the world's hotspots, VIP interviews, intriguing stories. Are you here? Then try RT Arabic. To find out more, visit arabic.rt.com.
Okay. I, David Crockett, welcome you to Tangier Island, Virginia, at It's a little island in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay on the Virginia side in Accomack County.
Around Tangier Island, the Chesapeake Bay probably is one of the best areas in the country for soft crabs.
This is an old picture of Tangier Island before the channel was cut through. All here, going way up here, is gone.
Right here are some of the headstones from the graves that were here. This was a Pruitt. That's what we don't want happen to Tangier Island. We want to get some protection and make sure that we don't go into the Chesapeake Bay like Uppers did in other communities.
My children make me very happy. All I have to do is just to look at my little eagles, and my soul feels good. Just recently I saw one of my sons, who's 16, sleeping with his arms around a teddy bear and Mickey Mouse. Tears came to my eyes. This boy spent his childhood begging. He earned money for his parents, which they just spent on drink. It's a great joy for me that I can give them a childhood. Up you get, Fire Brigade. Good morning to you, little rabbits. A new day begins. It has some questions in store for you. I hope you can accept the challenge. Up you get. I grew up in a family of alcoholics. I was afraid to go home because I feared finding my parents had killed each other in a drunken fight. Maybe that's why it's easy for me to understand my adopted sons, whose own parents were also alcoholics or drug addicts.
Okay, Dad, my turn.
Remember the rule. Slowly, slowly, gently pour it.
All right, Dad. I think God saved me. It's a miracle for me. I don't know what I would do if it weren't for this family. I would have been dead now, or would have been living on the streets. I spent the first nights on the roof. Sometimes I had to go to the train station to spend the nights in the winter. I was little and I pressed hard against the radiator and slept like that. I unloaded watermelons at the market. I earned money. I brought watermelons and some food to my house, knocked on the door and ran off. I was afraid my father would beat me for that. Then my mum died right on Women's Day. I wanted to congratulate her, and afterwards my dad came to see me. I was 11 when they were gone. It's been 5 years since. I want to have a family. I want a couple of kids of my own and adopt 3 or 4 children.
You don't find cyclists with a figure like mine. They're all lean like Bogdan. When we go up the hill, I have my tongue on my shoulder. He's just smiling. It's coming. I can see it coming. He'll be having fun while his dad's half dead.
Dad, let me go ahead.
Go ahead, son. Look at him go.
We come closer to our dream little by little. We don't pay attention to roads or nature. We're pedaling to achieve our goal. We went past one village and right after we left it, 3 children were adopted there, after we told them our stories. We save other children by showing off who we are.
Not long ago, we took a new boy into our family. He's my 32nd adopted son. He's 8. My own son is 5, but they look alike. So my son came up to me and said something that made me burst into tears instantly. He said, "Daddy, Mummy, I understand that Danila's mummy died. I have to share my mummy and daddy with him. My son's 5. He's living in his own little world and he's already so selfless. It's fantastic.
When we adopted our first children, our friends were in shock. They thought we would get tired and give up, that we would fail because it's very hard and we would come back to a normal life. But these friends adopt children now.
Are you mine or not?
Yours?
Yeah, you're mine.
No.
You mine?
Oh yeah, yours.
No, he doesn't get it yet. He's still new. He's number 32. Where did I put that label on you, huh? On the ear? On the back? I can't remember where it is. They wanted to take him to the orphanage. The head of the orphanage wanted to do it at once, but I said, no, he's got a brother.
Our mother died after a second bout of pneumonia. I'm his brother, so I had the right to take him with me. We fought for him, and we won. He's crying because of Mom. Maybe God wanted to take our mother, and it so happened that he came to us. I can bring him up here, so he doesn't repeat my mistakes.
Let everybody see her. Pass it around. Pass it around to everyone. Marina, hi! Marina found her brother. Then she learned that she had one more brother too. She was looking for one and she found a whole platoon.
We were small when they separated us. She was adopted when she was 8. They took her to Italy, to Milan. I was hanging out on a Russian social network and a friend request popped up. I looked at her photos and I saw at once that it was my sister. Dad didn't believe me at first, but I showed him the photos and said, look, the nose, the teeth, the hair, everything's like mine. We're alike. Then we called via Skype and we talked. I cried like a baby, simply out of happiness. I always remembered her. I'd been looking for her. Do you know any poems in Italian?
Oh, that's not easy.
Quale nella tristizia di Ligurgo si due figli a rivedere la madre, tal feccio, ma non ha tanto di insurgo.
A round of applause. Cool. Our dream can be summed up in just a few words. Russia and the world with no orphans. We don't want any children to wake up in orphanages. We firmly believe that there are parents out there for every child. So if it should happen that one child is left without his own parents, then other people should turn up and embrace them and treat the child as their own.
Dad, I think we're ready to take part in the Tour de France. They ride on smooth roads.
Tour de France is in Europe. We're on Siberian roads. That means we're better. Potholes! They don't have potholes in the Tour de France. We do. This team has covered more than 10,000 kilometers. The whole of Ukraine, Central Russia, the Urals, and almost all of Siberia. Homeless kids who grew up in basements around sewage and heating pipes. Today they go around the world with their adoptive parents, calling on people not to be afraid, to overcome their fears, myths, stereotypes and prejudices, and just go to the orphanages to bring children home.
Едем, едем мы вперед! За Россию без сирот! За Россию без сирот! Не страшны нам бури ветры! Не страшны нам бури ветры! Крутим сердце километры! Крутим сердце километры!
This bicycle is from Italy. I got it from a professional cyclist who took part in the Tour de France. Our dad told this guy about his dream and he gave this bike to him. My sister was adopted and she lives in Italy now. I dream of seeing her. I hope that in the near future I'll be able to go there and see her myself.
Onward, Eagles! Speed up, my Eagles!
Hooray! Lake Baikal!
Woo!
I cried with joy today. You know that once in a while I get overcome with happiness. Today was one such day. Perhaps it's because I'm exhausted, but it's not just that. I'm really proud of you guys. You've heard me say that before, but I'm not just saying it. There will be people who will adopt kids in a week, in a month, in half a year. I'm 100% sure of it, absolutely. And that's what makes this tour worthwhile.
Детям вечно досаден их возраст и быт, и дрались мы досаден до смертных обид, но одежды латали нам матери в срок, мы же книги глотали пьянее от строк. Испытай, завладев еще теплым мечом и доспехи надев, что почем, разберись, кто ты трус или избранник судьбы, и попробуй на вкус настоящий борьбы.
That was a prayer from my childhood. I didn't know back then who to pray to.